What a great movie! What a great movie! So, since how do you feel? How do you feel after the movie?
Um, Hi everyone, thank you for coming to see our film. I mean, it's exciting to show the film for the first time in New York here. So, it's really exciting to be here because our first film we actually premiered it here too in 2014, I think. So it's good to be back 10 years after.
And Tom, welcome. How are you? How are you feeling about the movie?
This is actually my first time seeing the finished cut, actually, because we wrote this script in 2010, and so yeah, it's been a long time coming, and so that I actually never thought that I'd see the day that we would make this film, and credit to Kenneth for pulling everything together and actually getting it produced, made. So it was really exciting for me just seeing. Almost things I've forgotten about, actually little jokes we had, or the names we gave people, old people we know and things like that. So it's really cool seeing that.
Okay. My first question will be: Is Stevo a real MC? Yeah, because he acted good. Is that?
Yeah. So Gabriel Afolayan is actually a really respected actor in Nigeria, but then also he is a musician. I think he has a couple of singles out. So yeah, he's a real one. But I think for me with Steve-O, the sort of character that we're looking for, apart from the fact that he's supposed to be a singer, it is about someone who can be able to body that character. And I think he has that. And then the music thing was just another advantage, because even if he wasn't a good musician, we still have fun with him as well.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And my second question will be about the gang. What about this gang? Is it based on real events or?
I mean, is it based on real events? So firstly, I mean, it's really important to say that this whole film is based off a short story written by a friend of ours, Crispin. So, the gang was part of that. I mean, in Lagos, you have the phenomenon of area boys. And I don't know whether you would say that these guys exactly fit the archetype, doing their escapades. And it's also like a construct for the movie. I mean, everything we've done is maybe larger than life here, and with the contrast really toned up. And I think that's where the inspiration came from.
So when did you finish the final version of the movie?
So we filmed in 2022, I think. We finished filming around August in 2022. But then, so we said it, we got into post-production, and when we're done with the first cuts, and of course went back and forth, and when we're done with it, and we got into, of course, sound design and all of that, and that took maybe 6-7 months. So we barely finished it before our premiere at the Africa International Film Festival last year in November.
Okay, yeah. Good. So Tom, were you in Lagos for the script or not?
So, I mean, I live in New York now. I moved here in 2021 with my wife. But at the time we wrote this in 2010, I was living in London. I'm from the UK. I don't know if you can tell by my accent. And so, I mean, we met each other in 2006. So we go back a really long way. And so I would go and visit Kenneth in Nigeria pretty often. Not always in Lagos, actually. We kind of because he was always in a different place because of his filmmaking projects, and I would just go visit wherever. So yeah, I mean, I've been to Lagos quite a few times, but I think I actually have distinct memories. It was all via email. We were communicating with and also with Crispin, who wrote the short story, was also working on the screenplay, and we were just emailing scenes to each other. But me, I was in London personally when I was doing my part of it.
Okay, thank you. So before telling to our audience, I will have a last question. I love making movies in Africa. I mean, Nigeria is a big industry, but how was it? Did you ever had some challenges?
Well, like, yeah. So initially, when we wanted to make the film, we wrote it in 2010, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, it was the issue of funding. Always with independent filmmakers, it's always about funding. And for me, we almost were supposed to make this film. Was it what, like 2013? Was it 2012? Yeah, around that particular time. But then we didn't actually have the money because we're almost sure of getting that money, but it didn't really work out. So what happened was we had to keep the project aside, and I wanted to do other projects. And coming back to, I just felt that the script is just too good for us to just like let it. And this script was supposed to be our second film after our first one called Confusion Hour. And so I still had, I felt something for it. And so when I picked it up and I read it, I got in touch with Charles Opalake, and he has this really big studio in Nigeria called Play Network. And so we decided to put money together and to make the film. But majorly, it was just about the challenge of making the film is funding. And then after the funding, what we had also was that there were actors that we thought were perfect for the roles. But then now, especially for the girl, she's moved on to Germany, and she doesn't really quite look the same when we had her in mind. So we had to start looking for a fresh actor. And the lady that played the role, that is her first time acting actually that's her first feature. So working out all of this, and the actors, and I don't know if some people are very conversant with the Nigerian film industry, but the actors that we use, most of them are like really quite big in Nigeria. Even the mother, the aunt is Isadora, but they're really quite big in Nigeria, so they read the script and they really liked it. So for me, it is just about trying to get the right people and then the funding, and but it's always quite a challenge to make independent cinema. Yeah.
Thank you, Kenneth. Now let's turn to the audience. So if anybody has a question, yes, there's one at the back. Introduce yourself and...
Good evening, everyone. Kenneth, well done, Alana.
Thank you.
Well done. My name is Charles Azuibi. I'm a Nigerian actor currently in New York. I've known Kenneth for, I don't know, it's been a long time, but congratulations on the film. I was wondering about where the film was shot, the location.
So the location of the film, because Lagos, so it's set in Lagos, but most parts of the film were actually shot in central Nigeria, right? So we decided to just mix it up, because in Lagos, if you're asking me about the problems of filming in Lagos, of course, it's like we have the issue of area boys, just like the same guns you see in the film, right? So you will need, if we're going to shoot it in Lagos, it will cost us maybe twice the amount of money that we spent, because we need to sort a lot of things on the ground. So we had to go to where we can have control over our location. So we film it, parts of it in central Nigeria in Jos, and other parts we mix it up with Lagos.
Thank you. Anyone else here?
Congratulations on this. I think I saw Confusion Hour here at this festival a while back. So, and I'm just wondering, I think the Nollywood has changed a lot since then. So I'm curious about how you would characterize the change in Nollywood in the past 10 years, especially with the attempts by Netflix and DSTV to colonize Nigerian film industry, and how that's affected you, and what you think of how you would position this film in that kind of the new Nollywood that's emerging, in contrast to what you did.
I think when we made Confusion Hour, it was just the atmosphere, the Nigerian film industry wasn't really, it wasn't really really big favorable for independent filmmakers at the time, right? It's always about a certain kind of films that were really taken in the mainstream. But I think right now there's like so much, I mean, there's a lot of reception for all kinds of films in Nigeria. And so with Netflix, Amazon, and, you know, basically all the streamers in Africa right now, it has given creatives the lances to tell all kinds of stories, basically. So right now, the quality of writing and performances, I mean, everything has really improved, basically. And I think that in the next 5-10 years, we are really going to be much farther than where we are right now. But I will say that 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. So I'm really glad to see that. I mean, 10 years after, we have a lot of other, I mean, films. I mean, the opening film of this festival was, I mean, another film by a first-time filmmaker, Tolu Ajayi, which is a great film as well. So we have films like that coming out of Nigeria, and we're really excited. But yeah.
I mean, I would just say, Confusion Noir, like, it was a very emotional journey for both of us, because it was on one level a really successful film. It got to festivals like this. It got like a lot of praise, and, you know, that was nice. And then like actually making any money from it was extremely, like, you know, not just disappointing returns, but even like the amount of like just trouble. I mean, at one point, one of the people we were working with was like threatening to take us to court for like things that they had done. That was in the UK. And it was very discouraging, to be completely honest with you, for anyone who's sort of trying to come into this industry and do things with fresh ideas. So I had been much less involved in this than Kenneth, but I would just say that like anything that simplifies that whole aspect for filmmakers is only going to be good, because like I can just tell you from personal experience, it's a very rough ride 10 years ago.
My name's Aisha. Thank you so much. That was a really wonderful film. My question, how do you know, as a creator and also as a producer, how do you know when a product is ready or done? So if you're, and especially, having put something aside for nearly a decade and then coming back to it, and then looking at it with fresh eyes, how do you know, okay, we've workshopped this screenplay, this is ready, or in the post-production process, like this is ready?
That's a very tricky question. I mean, to be honest with you, if I'm telling a story and we work on the scripts, I can't really remember all the conversations that we had when we're working on the script, but I'm sure it got to a point where we'll tell ourselves that, okay, this is actually ready, because if not, you could just like even continue working on it over and over and over. So I guess you will always know when it is ready if you actually have that. I really wouldn't know how to describe it, but for me, with all of my projects, I just know that when it's ready, it's just ready. And what we also always do is that we also have to when send it out, you just get feedback about what it is. So sometimes you might have maybe consultants. I mean, on this particular one, we don't, but I guess because there's Tom writing, and then there's Christian as well. So we had really good heads working on this particular one. But generally for me, if I'm working on a script, I just know that it gets to a point where I know that, it's ready. And in terms of post-production, for me, a lot of the cuts that you see, because the first version of the film will be maybe 3 hours, I think. Either 3 hours or maybe 2 hours, 45 minutes. But I always love to cut my films to be I really don't want to just keep the audience sitting down to watch something when I know that I could just cut it out in post-production. So I always make sure that we trim it down to maybe the appropriate time. So this one is 91 minutes, I think. And of course, when you do that, you have to just move on to the sound in terms of sound. And I really have good ears for sound, because that is one problem that we have in Nigeria back in the day. 10 years ago, sound design wasn't really good actually. So, but now we have, professionals coming up. So I don't know, like, if a product is ready, I just know it's ready. I don't want to be smart talking about this, basically.
Can I give a different perspective on that? Because I feel like everyone's personality is different, and so like me, I never feel anything is ever ready ever. And that means that if I don't work with the right partners, I'll never produce anything. And so you have to kind of figure out like what kind of person you are. Because if you're like me, you have to fight against that instinct. So otherwise it will hold you back.
Thank you, guys. So there was a question here. And that's going to be the last one because we're running late. And you can still talking to Kenneth when we will be outside. Please.
It's actually sort of builds on both of the last two questions. You mentioned that the actress you'd originally wanted for the main role had moved on between when you started making this film and now. And I'm wondering, are there other ways that this project has developed or changed or is no longer what it was 10 years ago? And how has it changed over the last decade?
Yeah. I'll go with a few things. Firstly, when Kenneth mentioned before that actress, I wanted to jump in and point something out. So there's an actress called Tunde Aladashe. She went to Germany. If you see anything on Netflix called Atlantics, she's one of the writers there. That's not the point I wanted to make. The whole thing with in the film about her cutting her hair and having the mohawk hairstyle, that was all because Tunde has a mohawk, but she doesn't anymore. So like that whole aspect of the film was written because we had Tunde in mind from all along. So it's interesting, like that was one thing that changed, but we kept the whole mohawk storyline. But one thing I would say has changed a lot in the time since we were originally working on this is, apart from all the things we mentioned in the film industry, the Nigerian music industry has moved on a huge amount and is like us. I feel like 10 years ago it's just beginning to go global, whereas now it's like this huge global phenomenon. And in a way, I kind of feel like that actually improves the film in the sense that someone like Stevo, you can see he's like small time. I mean, you mentioned he's a good rapper. Like, it wouldn't have mattered if he was bad, honestly. Like, you just see this like small time guy trying to hustle, and I feel like that maybe that contrast is even more pronounced because we see so many really international stars coming out of Nigeria now.
Yeah. So, but basically, also in terms of like where we want to set it up. So if it was going to be, so it's supposed to be in Surulere, right? It's a particular area of Lagos, but then right now, so some of the like to sort of like I'm trying to just like describe Surulere for you guys. It is in a part of Lagos where you have a lot of some of this like area voice, but then there's lots of development and almost like we sort of like gentrification in other parts and all of that. So we have to just like we try to take the film away from that particular area because it's not going to just give us that sort of really grassroots Lagos thing that we're actually looking for. So even in terms of the locations, in some of the places that we wanted to shoot has actually changed.
Thank you, guys. I think we're gonna stop here because of the time. And thank you.